Day 1 of my African safari in Tanzania. We started the morning with saying goodbye to the staff at the Ndutu Lodge, and they sang us a little jingle. We made our way from Arusha to Lake Manyara, and along the way there was so much cattle along the road, and our first spot was these baboons. We ate some lunch and headed off on our first game drive of the trip. Our first spot was the elephant, and wow, how stunning to see in person. We got rained out, but that didn't stop the animals from coming out, and we saw giraffes and some more baboons. It's definitely baby season because they were all out and playing. After our game drive, we made our way to our new destination, took a little look around, had some dinner, and then headed off to bed. But that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope we spot some more animals tomorrow. Welcome to day 2 on our African safari in Tanzania. We didn't have to leave until about 10:30 a.m. this morning, but because the thunderstorms were so bad through the night, I was basically up since 2:30 onwards, so much for sleeping in for me. We had about a 5-hour drive from Lake Manyara to Ndutu, so we took a little pit stop at a nice souvenir shop before heading out to the Ngorongoro conservation area. Because it was rainy all night, the fog was next level. We stopped to see the Ngorongoro crater overlook, but we absolutely could see not a thing, so that was kind of a bust. I can always look forward to the lunch boxes every day because they have the craziest variety, but it's always so yummy. When we were driving, we also did a game drive on our way to the hotel, and we saw so many zebra and wildebeest, and when I tell you there was thousands and thousands of wildebeest, it was so insane. Apparently there's about 800,000 babies born every year around this time, and I definitely believe it because the ratio was for sure 1-to-1 babies to mom. This whole rainy season is kind of a vibe killer because we got stuck in the mud and we literally had another car come push us out of the way. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but I think that's pretty common for them here. I mean, if you were carrying 8 people and then also 7 luggage on top of that, I think that's pretty heavy, and I'm surprised we haven't gotten stuck more, if I'm being honest. On our way to the hotel, we saw a bunch of car stops somewhere, which can only mean one thing. There's an animal. So we made our way over there and we saw a cheetah. It was pretty much very hard to see, but once it got up and started walking around, we could see it so clearly, and honestly, how cool is that to see a cheetah in the wild? But part of me does feel bad that these animals are just constantly surrounded by these vehicles. I have to give a shout out to our driver Guido real quick because he is so good, like anything he can get through. I mean, the mud is an occasional once in a while we get stuck, but this water, never would have thought we'd go through, but here we go, easy peasy. We finally made it to our tented camp, and this place is so cool. In the dark, you need to be escorted around because animals could literally come anywhere because it's not fenced off. Finished the night with some dinner, then headed to bed. Stay tuned to see what animals we find tomorrow. Bye! Welcome back to day 3 on my African safari in Tanzania. We started at around 7:30 a.m. I mean, we tried to, but our radiator was leaking, so before we went anywhere, Guido had to fix the truck. He came back, put a raw egg in it, and then on our way we went. That's the bush way of doing things. We started the drive by seeing some giraffes, wildebeest, zebras, and we also saw a lioness at the start. We saw a whole bunch of different animals to add to the list. We saw a hyena, we saw vultures eating something, we saw cheetahs, lots of cheetahs. Actually, there was 3 of them, but I don't think they really liked the cars being around because they kept walking away from the group of everyone. Another cool sighting was watching an elephant take down a tree. Didn't think I would see that, but definitely gonna cross that off my bucket list. When the sun came out, I somehow got super burnt. I don't know how that happened because I swear my arm was only out the window for like 10 minutes. A not so rare spotting is seeing people stuck in the mud. Everyone just kind of gathers, help each other out. It's a really good community around here, knowing that you're always going to have another truck to back you up when you get stuck. On our way back to camp, we saw some male lions, a leopard, and then our truck started overheating again. So another bush technique was taking elephant dung, stuffing that in the radiator, pouring some cold water, and then heading home. Today was such a full day, but so fun. Good night! It's time for day 4 on my African safari in Tanzania. I've been absolutely loving the weather here. Oh my gosh, being able to step outside in my pajamas and not be cold is so different than what I'm used to at home right now. But we spotted all of our usual, giraffe, zebra, wildebeest on our way to the Serengeti today. Fun fact, actually, there are no wildebeest or zebra in the Serengeti right now because they're slowly migrating and making their way towards it. So that was the last of those guys we'll see for a little while. Any chance to get out of the car and stretch our legs for a little bit is the best part of the day, but that little walk definitely made my legs feel like jello. We finally got to add some hippos to the list, and there was about 50 of them in that pool, which it's probably actually more because babies can hold their breath for about 10 minutes while they're underwater. Also pulled over to this cool little spot for lunch, saw a bunch of mongoose, got a little tour, some more animal fact, and continued on our way back to, yes, you guessed it, another tent. Let's see what tomorrow holds. Good night! Day 5 on my African safari in Tanzania. That was literally the worst thunderstorm I've ever been in, and it kept me up the entire night. Not only that, but it canceled our hippo tour! Today was a full day traveling through the Serengeti, and it was a big lion day. I think we saw about 20 lions today. And then we also saw a huge herd of elephants too, of all ages. Babies, mamas, everything. But this big guy, he was out for us. He did not like us at all. Once we continued on, these giraffes just stared at us while we sat there. Saw a chameleon, you know, the whole gang. Did see some hippos, that was cool, and our first buffalo. We got to relax a little bit before dinner, which was nice. And when it got dark, we went to see if we could hear some hippos. We saw one. Hopefully tomorrow's a little more exciting. Welcome to day 6 on my African safari in Tanzania. This one's going to be a long one, so grab some snacks and take a seat. We finally made it to go see the hippos. Woke up bright and early at 5 o'clock, left at 6, and headed down to the hippo pool. I fear most of the hippos were already in the water, but we did get to see 3 of them coming in, and that was so cool. Hippos also do make the craziest sound. They really sound like cows, but in water. After the hippos, we headed back to the lodge, ate some breakfast, and then headed out for the full day, transferring from Serengeti to Ngorongoro crater. The drive there was supposed to be about 5 hours, but as per usual, there was a holdup because a truck got stuck in the water. Are we surprised? Not at all. We had to find an alternate route, which added about an hour to our drive. When we were leaving the Serengeti, we ended up back in, you guessed it, Wildebeest territory. Thousands and thousands of them again. We stopped for lunch, got to pack our own lunch, which was amazing because then it didn't consist of just bread. And we also saw a hyena. He was probably scavenging for his lunch. Today was a really cool day because we got to visit the Maasai tribe and their boma, which is just a smaller version of a village. They got us dressed up in their traditional outfits, they did a welcome dance and song for us, and then we headed into their circle where they sang some more and danced some more. The women wear these huge necklaces, and their dance is trying to move the necklaces with their shoulders, so they're kind of shrugging as they're going along. And the men, they try to jump as high as they can. The man who jumps the highest has many wives. Me and my sister obviously had to join in because where else would I say that I danced with the Maasai people and got to have this cool cultural experience? Nowhere. We then headed over to the kindergarten class. These kids are ages 3 to 6 and oh my gosh, they were so cute. They showed us how they said the alphabet and counted from 0 to 100 and it was actually quite adorable. Crazy thing is, these kids walk 2.5 hours to and from school every single day. I don't think I'll ever complain about walking ever again in my life. Next, we are very lucky to be welcomed into one of the Maasai houses. When we got in there, they told us some facts about it, such as it's made from cow manure and sticks, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to make. The men collect all the materials and the women build the house. This house that we were in was made for 2 adults and 3 kids. Once we finished the Maasai Boma tour and asked our questions and paid our respects and said thank you, we headed on the road again, off to Ngorongoro. This is quite literally the most stunning view I've ever seen in my entire life. Minus the cows constantly causing traffic, I think I could drive this road over and over and over again. If you remember on day 1, we couldn't see the crater at all because of the fog, but now we could, and with the rain brought a double rainbow. It was so beautiful and magical. I think I took at least 100 pictures of this rainbow and this view alone. Don't know what I'll do with all 100 pictures, but it was worth it. We got to our hotel, and this hotel was just opened in July, and it is stunning. The food, absolutely amazing. And look at this view. I don't think I've ever seen anything nicer in my whole entire life. Look at that. I don't like baths, but this made me want to have 100 of them. What would have made this view even better was maybe some elephants, giraffes, baboons, any of that outside my window. And maybe my boyfriend to enjoy it with. After a long 8-hour travel day, we ate some dinner, relaxed, and got ready for tomorrow. Hope to see you then. I think it'll be pretty exciting. Welcome back to day 7 on my African safari in Tanzania. Let's go to the Ngorongoro crater. Woke up this morning about 7:30 to have an 8:30 a.m. start, got some breakfast and headed on the road. We are only about a 10-minute drive from the bottom of the crater, but this road is all mud and you'll see why that might be an issue later. When I tell you this place is beautiful, I absolutely mean it. The vast variety of wildlife we saw was incredible. It honestly was such a magical place. Zebras, wildebeest, buffalo, lion, elephant, you name it. We also had our first sighting of these lion cubs, but unfortunately they never turned their head towards us. One of the biggest differences I noticed between here and the other places besides the open plain is that the animals aren't scared of the vehicles here. Apparently it's because they know that down in the crater they're completely protected and people, vehicles, all of that aren't a danger to them. This little guy nursing was so cute. Some more of the magic was seeing the hippos out of water. Those are some big creatures, but I think they're kind of cute. Then this Ellie all by himself, but he wasn't scared of us or aggressive either, just kept walking right up to the car. Then we hit the time when it started to rain, and lions don't like rain if you aren't aware. Like, look how sad this guy looks, but I think that's what we're all feeling with the rain at this point. The crater is known to see rhinos, which is the last animal of the big five that we didn't see, although we saw them very, very far away, only through binoculars. After spending about 4 hours driving around the crater, we made our way back up the hill, and you remember that mud I was telling you about? Yeah, this guy didn't have four-wheel drive, so we literally had to push him out of the way. We got to a point where we're like, sorry buddy, you're on your own, and we passed him, and then made our way up the hill all by ourselves, because obviously Guido knows what he's doing. Another crazy thing is when you're going out, it gives major Jurassic Park vibes, like trees everywhere. Besides also the cattle that always cause traffic as well. We got back to the hotel around 3:30 p.m., which left enough time for me to have a bath with this spectacular view because you know I couldn't pass it up. Once I freshened up, we headed over to the main area, played this game of sequence, lost both times, and then ate some dinner and headed to bed. Good night. Day 8 on my African safari in Tanzania. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's almost over. This is the second last day, and we didn't really do much. Spent most of our time in this massive souvenir shop. When I say huge, they had any souvenir you could possibly imagine, which is good for me because I got my snow globe. But honestly, the worst part of it is bargaining. When I tell you I was sweating, about to cry, all of the above, could not do it. Then we headed over to a Tanzanite shop. One thing I learned there is that this gem is finite, so once it's completely mined, it'll never come back. So my mom wanted to get a pair of earrings. Also got a little tour about how Tanzanite is mined. That was pretty cool, honestly. Had a little pit stop for lunch, then it was time for another cultural tour. There's over 120 tribes in Tanzania and they all live together. This little flower that they picked for us is a symbol of good luck. Now it was time to look at the rice fields and how they harvest it. Rice is harvested twice a year, January and July. While the rice is planted, the owner of the field stays there all day long to keep the birds away and make sure nothing's happening. Even sometimes they sleep there. Our next little ride was here. This made me think of when me and my gang pull up. Took about a 30-second tuk-tuk ride over to the banana field. In Tanzania, there's 3 species of bananas, one for cooking, one for eating, and one for beer. When it's first made, it only has 0.5% of alcohol in it, and then over a couple days, it increases. I had a little sip, and honestly, it wasn't bad. I'm not a beer person, but it wasn't bad. Our next stop was to see the Makonde tribe. These people are originally from Mozambique, but came to Tanzania during the Mozambique Independence War. All of those carvings you see everywhere is where these are made, and they're absolutely stunning. Had my first red banana, and it was so yummy and sweet. After about 2 hours on the cultural tour, we headed back. Traffic was crazy as always. At the new place we're staying in, I got myself a mojito. It was super sour. We had some dinner and then went to bed.
Welcome to the final day of Alex's African Safari in Tanzania. And I'm Sam. I'll be your tour guide today. Today we woke up in the trees at the ungodly hour of 7 a.m. I personally requested 9, but no one listens to Sam. Anywho says, this is Guido, #1 driver. Today we're in Tarangire National Park. This right here is a velvet monkey. He was so freaking pissed off to see us, he took it out on his tail, grooming it uncontrollably. But that sounds like a him problem. New species added to our list. Haha. On the road again. Apparently Tarangire is known for its copious amount of elephants. We only saw one herd. But look at this little baby struggling to get down the hill. Mama swooped in and helped him out. Oh, isn't that adorable? And we even got to watch him nurse. That was the coolest thing ever. These elephants are so big, so magnificent. They're actually really entertaining to watch. But again, only heard in 4 hours. We sure built up an appetite watching those elephants play around. Now it's time for lunch. When I tell you we were spoiled by this packed picnic, guys, look at this spread. It was so good. They even gave us chocolate cake. Oh, look, there I am, all hydrated and ish. Apparently this is Alex's way of showing you that a storm was coming in. And yeah, those clouds, they were devious. When I tell you the rain came in hard, it came hard. I'm telling you, Guido put the pedal to the metal. He no longer cared that I was in the back of the truck and I was getting bounced around all over the place like a freaking rag doll. But oh look, Miss Ray of Sunshine, not a drop on her. We're now back at the hotel. This is what it looks like. That's a super cute pool. Alex's room is all the way up in the boonies. She's got to walk through the woods, but look at this room, you guys. Stunning. Give me 14 of them right now. I told Alex I'd be over to do this voiceover, so look at her grippers out waiting for me. There was so many bees coming after me. I was running. Oop, jump scare. We finally made our way down to dinner. This is where Alex's treehouse is. And dinner was served in what looked to be like a sand pit, but the Maasai did a whole performance for us, which was super cool. And tonight we are celebrating the day I became a big sister. That's right, y'all. Alex is 26. Good night.